again, and this is on us as coaches. Like, this is our responsibility. We got to be disciplined the entire game. We got to be disciplined every possession. We're taking chances. We're fouling shooters who are about to shoot tough shots. We got breakdowns in coverages.
Caitlin Clark dropped 32 points, hit 7 three-pointers, and almost single-handedly ripped victory away from the Washington Mystics. And the Indiana Fever still lost, 104-102 in overtime. And what happened at that press conference after the game? Stephanie White shut it all down. She didn't want to hear it. She didn't want to answer for it. The footage coming out of that locker room, the questions the reporters asked and the answers they got, or didn't get, are genuinely shocking. Stay with me through this video because what Clark said at the end of that press conference, after everything she put on the court, will hit different. Let me take you back to May 15th, 2026. The Indiana Fever are at home against the Washington Mystics, a team that, on paper, they should be handling. And for stretches of that game, they were. But then came the second quarter. Stephanie White benched Caitlin Clark. And in the minutes Clark sat on that bench, the Mystics went on a 20-9 run. You read that right? 20-9. A gut punch partial that changed the entire complexion of the game, and it happened with the best player on the team in street clothes watching from the sideline. Now, a lesser player would have let that game go, would have gone through the motions, put up 10 or 12 points, and chalked it up as a loss. Not Clark. She came back out in the fourth quarter and went to work. 17 points in that final quarter, 17, almost single-handedly dragging this Fever team back from the dead. And then, with 1.7 seconds left on the clock in regulation, she pulled up and buried a three-pointer to tie the game. A game-tying shot with 1.7 seconds left. The kind of clutch performance that franchise players are built for. The Fever had a chance to win this game. They had momentum. They had the crowd. They had Caitlin Clark. And then Stephanie White drew up the final play of overtime and gave the ball to Lexi Hull. If you're enjoying this breakdown, smash that like button. It really helps the channel. Let's be very clear about what happened in that overtime possession. The Fever needed a basket to win the game. The best offensive player on the floor, arguably one of the most dangerous offensive players in the entire WNBA, was on the court. And the head coach designed a play where Clark was a decoy. She was used as a screen, a pick, a distraction, while Lexi Hull got the rock, drove the lane, and missed.
The biggest area of growth is everyone wants to go over when they're making shots, and for us, that's our biggest room for improvement right now is when things aren't going well, we still got to be able to defend and find ways to get stops, and we haven't done that very well to this point, same way it was with our
Game over. Washington Mystics win 104-102. Commentators weren't gentle. Jason Whitlock went on air and called it exactly what it was. Coaching malpractice. His words, not mine. Keeping Monique Billings on the floor for 36 minutes with zero rim protection while the Mystics were posting up and getting inside, and then not trusting your best player with the ball in the biggest moment of the game. That's not a rotation. That's a liability. And the Billings situation deserves its own breakdown. 36 minutes. That's what White gave Billings against a Mystics squad that had Sonia Citron going for 30 points and Kiki Iriafen putting up 25 with 13 rebounds. 13 rebounds against a team that gave Billings 36 minutes of playing time. You need protection at the rim. You need someone who can erase mistakes on the back end. And instead, White kept running that rotation back out there while Iriafen was having a field day down low. The Fever went into that game with a 1-2 record on the young 2026 season. 3 games in, the pressure was already building. And this was supposed to be a home game where they established themselves. Instead, they fell behind because of lineup decisions, fought back because Caitlin Clark refused to let them lose, and then got beat in overtime because of another lineup decision. After the game, reporters pressed White. They asked her specifically about Clark's performance. 17 points in the fourth quarter. That game-tying 3 with 1.7 seconds left. They asked her about the individual brilliance that nearly saved a team that was letting her down. And Stephanie White looked into that microphone and said, and I want you to really hear this. She said, We have to be better as a whole group. It's not about any one individual. It's about what we do together. The whole group. Not Caitlin Clark. The whole group. When the backlash started rolling in, when social media lit up with the hashtag #FireStephanieWhite trending after the game, White made a public statement. She said, "I'm going to ignore the noise. My job is to coach this team the right way and develop championship habits." Championship habits. The Fever are 1-2. Clark is carrying this team, and the coach is talking about championship habits while calling a final play that gives the ball to Lexi Hull. Now, here's the part that nobody is talking about enough. And this is what's really damaging. The trust issue. Because when you watch Clark on that court, you see a player who is fully locked in, giving everything she has, leaving absolutely nothing on the floor. And then you watch the coaching decisions around her, and there is a disconnect that is becoming impossible to ignore. The benching in the second quarter that led to that 20-9 Mystics run. The Billings rotation that left them exposed inside. The overtime play call that made Clark a decoy. That's not one mistake. That's a pattern. And what makes this all so much harder to watch is Clark's response at the end of that press conference. A reporter walked up to her after everything she had just done. 32 points, 7 three-pointers, one of the most gutting overtime losses you can imagine. And asked her how she felt. Asked her about that game-tying 3 with 1.7 seconds left. And Clark looked at him and said, "It was great, but I don't really care because we lost." She said it twice. The reporter pushed back, tried to get her to smile, tried to acknowledge what she had done. And Clark doubled down. "I don't really care because we lost." That's the competitive standard she holds herself to. That's the mentality this franchise has. And when you hear that, when you feel the weight of that answer, and then you compare it to the lineup decisions being made around her, it hits completely different. Because she's not out there playing for stats. She's not playing for clips. She's playing to win. And the coaching decisions around her keep making it harder. Indiana Fever fans deserve a real answer, not noise, not championship habits. A real answer about why Clark sat when the Mystics went on a 20-9 run. A real answer about 36 minutes for Billings against a team that was dominating the interior. A real answer about why, in the most important possession of the game, the ball went to Lexi Hull. The 2026 WNBA season is young. The Fever are 1-2. Clark is already performing at a level that should be winning games. If this coaching situation doesn't get corrected, and fast, this is going to be a very painful season for Indiana Fever fans. What do you think is the best move for the Indiana Fever going forward? Should Stephanie White change her rotations, or is this situation already getting out of hand? Let me know down in the comments. And if you haven't already, subscribe and hit that notification bell. We cover every major WNBA story as it breaks, so you never miss a thing. Stay tuned because the Fever's next game and what happens with this coaching situation is about to explode, and you'll want to hear this first.